Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, DJ Hamilton, here at the DJ Sports Show, here on WRCR 1700 AM radio, on this really warm, hot November day here in Garnerville, New York. How you doing today, Matt?
Doing great. How about yourself, DJ?
Hey, this does not feel like fall out here. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, no, I still get people commenting. Like, there's times where I would, like, wear shorts, and they're like, why aren't you cold? I'm like, aren't you too hot out here? Like, this is not normal weather for us. Like,
oh no, it's
New
not.
York.
It's definitely not. The global warming definitely is real.
Yeah.
But on today's show, we got a great menu for you guys today. I'm mainly going to talk some of the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight that happened last night. I don't even know if I really want to call that a fight, but
I heard it wasn't really a fight. I didn't see the full highlights of it, but I've heard some of the things, and I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't waste my full time
staying up late watching.
Yeah. And if it was a pay-per-view, I would have said to myself, I'm glad I didn't spend $40 to $60 on that fight.
So yeah, we're gonna get to that boxing match, and then we're almost a month into the NBA season. I can't believe it. So I want to get to some of my early NBA season takeaways as well, and then I want to maybe, if we have time, get some Eagles Commanders. See how I'm feeling later on the show, because I also want to unplug a little bit as we enter the holidays. Thanksgiving's around the corner, and this will be my last show before Thanksgiving. So the holidays are around the corner. Thanksgiving's close by. So without further ado, let's get into the show. First thing I want to talk about is boxing. So this was one of the most anticipated fights since it was first announced in March, between the merciful, ruthless Mike Tyson, also known as the baddest man alive, Iron Mike, the guy who is an iconic boxing legend, not even just in boxing, but in pop culture history, one of the most iconic athletes ever in sports. Throughout his career, he has had a 50-6 record, 44 career knockouts before last night's fight, and he started off his career with 37-0, and he was the youngest world boxing champion in history at 20 years old, which he won on November 22nd, 1986 against Trevor Berbick, and he was the undisputed heavyweight champion from 87 to 1990. So we have him on this side. He's 58 years old, by the way. So coming into this fight, I didn't have high expectations, but I was like, people were thinking about the name Mike Tyson, but they forget Father Time is undefeated, and we're gonna get into that a little bit. And then on the other side, we have Jake Paul, the YouTuber influencer turned boxer, 10-1 record throughout his career. He's the only loss he had was again in a split decision back in February 2023 against Tommy Fury, who was an MMA fighter, by the way, for those of you who don't know. So these two colliding, it's a collision of two different generations. One of the YouTuber, social media influencer generation, and we have the old school cutthroat generation in Tyson. So coming into this fight, I didn't have high expectations. I'm going to be honest.
I did too.
I didn't have high expectations. It kind of what I was predicting. And before we get into a little bit of the fight, here's what Mike Tyson had to say during the weigh-in day the other day when a reporter asked him who's going to win.
Hi, Mr. Tyson. I just want to ask a little question. Can you share us why did you say this sentence? The fear of losing is too much fighting than dying. And what would you lose if you lose this fight? Thank you.
I'm not going to lose.
But just you say that in the last minute of the second.
I am not going to lose. Did you hear what I said?
Thank you.
Yes, you hear the confident and assurant Mike Tyson there. And then something about this fight, I was watching, late night. I don't even really want to call it a fight, this exhibition, so to say. And coming in, I knew Tyson was going to have more energy early on. You're 58 years old. You're not where you used to be in your prime. I know he looked in incredible shape, especially for someone who's damn near 60 years old. But I know as the rounds went on, he was going to get a little tired. Coming out, he was the aggressor. He was the one early on throwing the punch, especially in round one. Paul was mostly feeling it out. He wasn't really trying to – that was his game plan, to get tired Mike Tyson out through that first round or two, because he knows at his age he's going to get tired. And Paul knows he has youth on his side. He's 27. He's in his prime of – in sports, the prime of your career is usually in your mid-20s to your early 30s. And Paul's in the smack dab middle of his prime, 27. And I don't consider him really a true boxer. He hasn't really versed anybody yet. We're going to get into that a little bit. But, yeah, round one, Mike Tyson, he won that round. He was aggressive early on, coming at Jake Paul. he and then Jake Paul was more retreating early on. But in round 2, you started seeing Jake Paul starting to throw a little bit more jabs, more punches, starting to get into his sets a little bit more. Mike Tyson around round 3 started getting a little bit fatigued. And his age started to show. He's starting to, getting those little chicken legs. He's a little shaky. He had a knee brace early. He had a knee brace he was wearing during this match on his right knee, I believe. So he wasn't fully healthy. And, playing through injuries at advanced age, you're just not going to be the same. It's not like when you're playing through, be able to recover as quickly as you would in your 20s or your 30s when you're younger. You have more youth to your advantage.
Yeah. I was saying this even before we started recording, that if this was Tyson in his 80s or 90s or late 90s, this would have been an equal square fight. But the way you're describing it,
oh no, it wouldn't be an equal square fight. Tyson would have demolished him.
Okay, fair.
He would have demolished him. You're talking about the youngest world boxing champion in history. 20 years old, he did that. He wasn't even in his prime yet at that time. So yeah, if this was him in his late 20s or even his 30s, he would have destroyed him. But hey, different stage of his career. I know a lot of people were watching on Netflix. I'm glad I didn't pay for Netflix. I was watching on the Stream East live on Google for free. And I'm glad I didn't have to pay. Some people don't have Netflix. They ended up paying just to watch this fight. And
with the mid-roll ads and everything else.
And it just kept buffering. It was terrible. And even on the Stream East live app I was watching, just kept buffering. It was terrible. Netflix, don't stream any more fights to this magnitude again. Just put it on pay-per-view or have someone else do it. It's just they can't handle the amount of people on the servers because it was terrible.
It's funny because I know outside of sports, I know WWE is going to Netflix for Raw. So one
of my friends was talking about that recently in the chat. I'm in before the show. He told me WWE is going to Netflix. I don't know how that's going to work out. And then you have the Steelers and the Chiefs on Christmas Day on Netflix. So I don't know how that's going to work out when millions are trying to go on one streaming platform and watch this since it's only going to be on there.
Yeah, it's you have to step up your game after what happened with the streaming service. I've heard a lot about there was a certain fight that 2 full rounds was buffering and you couldn't even watch it. So if that's the issue, they have to really step up their game with the streaming service.
Yeah, and one thing also about this fight was a little bit different from other fights. So it was consisting of 8 rounds, 2 minutes, where usually it's consisting of 12 rounds and 3 minutes. And I know they did that because of Tyson's age. He's 58. He will not be able to last the full 12 rounds and 3 minutes at his advanced age of his career. And he basically did, at the end of the fight, he did kind of say he's not done. It depends on the circumstances, which I was kind of surprised. But in that round 3, he started to get tired. But in round 4, I started seeing Jake Paul. He started round 3, 4. He started really delivering some punches. He had this one punch right into the stomach of Tyson in the 4th round. I knew Tyson felt that. I knew he felt that because I was watching some of it, and I was like, oh. I was like, okay, Jake Paul. And I know he was kind of taking it easy because Tyson's age and his health at this stage of his life. But and then they're also cool, outside the ring. They're actually good friends, by the way, if those of you who don't know. Paul and Tyson, they actually have a relationship. So they're not just 2 fighters going at each other. These are 2, friends who have mutual respect for one another.
Yeah, I know during the fight that Jake Paul bowed to him, as a show of respect to him.
Yep.
So
I
was all right, it's a fight, but at the same time, it's a competition, a friendly competition. I don't know how a friendly competition would work when you're trying to, punch
fight someone double your age.
Yeah, and also trying to punch someone in the face, maybe giving them CTE or something like that.
Yeah, and something about Tyson, he's known for his unique peekaboo style. He has his hands on each side of his head. That keeps him from being vulnerable to opponents' punches. He's great at defending from opponents' punches and keeping himself not being vulnerable. And he also has the speed, the power. He was ruthless during his heyday. I didn't really see that in this fight. He was more reluctant. He was more stagnant. He was more of a retreater during this fight. He didn't throw a lot of punches, in my opinion.
How long has it been since Tyson retired?
2005, almost 20 years basically.
Yeah. When you're not
the Roy Jones fight in 2020 doesn't really count. That was an exhibition fight. Yeah, that was not really.
Yeah, well, let's just say when you're coming back to a skill of anything for so long, you're gonna be
rusty.
Yeah, you're gonna be rusty. So like,
even though we saw those clips of him over the last 6 months when he was training for this, going crazy. But remember, it's just clips. That's like 10, 15 seconds. When you're going 16 minutes, 8 rounds with the best of 8 rounds, that's whole different than going for just 16, 30 seconds on Reels on Instagram, especially at 58. So, but he does look in incredible shape for his age. I'm not gonna lie. He looks incredible. He looks in better shape now than he did during the Roy Jones fight. I don't know if you saw the differences in the 2020, 2024 pictures. He looks, his abs are more shredded, popping out more. And I'm like, whoa, that's a 58-year-old? Wow. Some of the comments I saw on social media were like, oh, look at Jake Paul fighting like a guy who's going to be in a retirement home in the next few years. I'm like, oh, my God.
It's like, I don't know about that, but okay.
Yeah. And then another good in round 5, I saw Tyson, by the time he was spent at that time, but Jake Paul had another over the head right hook that collided with Tyson's head. I was like, ooh, okay. Those were the only 2 hits that really stood out to me. The stomach blow in the 4th round by Jake Paul to Tyson, and then that over the head right hook to Tyson in the 5th round. Other than that, there were really many memorable moments to really talk about with this fight. But after the fight, these two had some great comments to say about each other. Paul had some great things to say about Tyson, and Tyson had great things to say about Paul. Here's what they had to say post-match.
Hey, congratulations on the victory. Are you surprised that went the distance?
First and foremost, Mike Tyson, it's such an honor. Let's give it up for Mike, bro. He's a legend. He's the greatest to ever do it. He's the GOAT. I look up to him. I'm inspired by him, and we wouldn't be here today without him. This man is an icon, and it's just an honor to be able to fight him. And he's obviously the toughest, baddest man on the planet. So it was really tough, like I expected it to be.
I want to go back and forth there. So, Mike, if you can respond to that as well. Congratulations on a very strong performance. Are you happy with what you did out there tonight?
Absolutely happy, yes.
Are you surprised it went the distance?
No, I knew he was a good fighter. I knew he was prepared, but I came to fight.
58, a lot of people thought you shouldn't be here. A lot of people thought you'd be done and dusted in the first round. Do you feel like you proved the world wrong, that you could at least go 8 rounds with a younger man?
I didn't prove nothing to anybody, only to myself. I'm not one of those guys that look to please the world. I'm just happy with what I can do.
Could I ask about the knee brace? Were you dealing with an injury going into the fight?
Yeah, but I can't use that for an excuse, because if I did, I wouldn't be in here.
The broadcast team was debating what you were doing with your glove. Was it a mouthpiece issue, or were you just biting on your glove? What was that? Could you tell us?
Oh, I have a habit of biting my gloves when I fight, yes.
Why do you do that?
I have a biting fixation.
I've heard about that. I don't want to know more. Stay right here, Mike, if you can.
Oh, man, Mike Tyson, you got to love him. I got a biting sensation. If those of you don't know what he's referencing, he bit Evander Holyfield's ear off back in the 90s when they had one of their iconic matches against each other. So that was funny when I heard that. I was like, oh, you got to love the sense of humor. Ariel Helwani, he's great too.
He's a great interviewer as well.
Oh, he's amazing. He covers the UFC, boxing. He is one of the premier boxing and UFC analysts out there. He's one of the best. I listen to him on the Ringer with Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo podcast. He knows his stuff. He did a great job interviewing them. One thing I loved about Paul is, I know he was cocky during the weigh-in day, but he showed his humility, his humbleness, and his respect for Tyson, how he grew up idolizing him. And that's one thing I really liked right there. Even though he won by unanimous decision, he had more punches thrown and everything like that, but he did show his grace towards Tyson and respect. Especially for someone at 58 years old to be able to get in the ring, get ready in 6 months. Because remember, they postponed the fight. It was supposed to be regularly in July 20th, but they postponed it because Tyson had a health issue at that time. He had an ulcer flare-up while he was on a ride in the airplane, and that's why they postponed it later to this date, which happened yesterday. So, yeah, respect to both fighters. I think, honestly, the best fight of the night was the fight before it. Amanda Serrano versus Kate Taylor. That was a fight. Serrano, you won in my book. She got robbed, man. She had more punches thrown, more punches that ended up landing, and she had a better percentage. And Taylor had points deducted for headbutts, which you're not allowed to do in boxing. You get points deducted for that. And somehow Taylor still won the match 95-94. I don't know what the judges were thinking, but nah. Serrano won that fight. She's from Puerto Rico, so shout out to her. Hey, that's one place I definitely want to go one day. Puerto Rico. I got it.
It's a great.
Great.
It's great to visit.
Great. I've heard great things about Puerto Rico, man. Great island. I want to go there one day. But yeah, Serrano, she won in my book. Taylor, I don't know how she won that. I know she was the champion coming in. You know, when you're in the challenger, you don't really get the respect from the judges. They're kind of biased in that way. But yeah, that was a highway robbery. I was like, damn, did Wall Street crash? Because that was some bad robbery right there. I was like, what is this? But yeah, it was kind of amazing to see. But yeah, that's going to do it for the boxing portion of this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Coming back from the break, we're going to talk some basketball. I got some early NBA season takeaways as we're almost a month into the season. You listen to the D-Day Sports here on WRCR 710 AM radio, and we'll be right back. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on D-Day Sports here on WRCR 710 AM radio with your host, DJ Hamilton. And now I want to get into my favorite sport, basketball. The NBA is almost at its 1 month mark already. I can't believe it. But I got a few NBA season takeaways. Some things have surprised me. I just want to get into a few of them. So the first thing I want to get into is one thing that's really surprised me this season. I remember I did my West Conference preview on my podcast, DJ Sports. So make sure you guys go check it out. I'm on everywhere you get your podcast. And one thing I had is the Golden State Warriors have really shocked me. They are second in the West right now. They have the third best overall record in NBA behind the Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And this is a team I had in the play-in or missing the playoffs potentially because I didn't think they had the size on the interior to defend people, especially some of the better bigs in the NBA, such as Nikola Jokic in the West, Anthony Davis you have in the West, Wembanyama in the West, DeMontis Sabonis on the Kings, give him his respect. He's a double-double machine. I think he gets underrated. I just think they didn't have the size to be on the interior defensively. I thought they were going to get out-hustled on the boards, defensive, rebounding-wise, and also with a lack of second-chance opportunities because they have no 7-footers on their roster. But, man, they have surprised me. And I just want to give them their kudos. Buddy Hield, Buddy Love, like they like to call him, or I like to call him Buddy Buckets. Man, he was the Klay Thompson replacement, sort of say, paraphrase as I do my little bunny ears. And him and Steph have been, it's like peanut butter and jelly, man. I'm not going to call them the Splash Bros because that is for Steph and Klay. That's their nickname. But maybe we can call them the Splash Buddies. How do we like that one? You like that one, Matt?
Definitely.
Like that one? Steph and Buddy Hield, because his name is Buddy, and hey, we got to keep the Splash tradition going. And Buddy Hield has been tremendous this season. He's shooting 46% from three. And he's shooting it not just the spot up threes. Like, he's actually creating his shot off the dribble. Yes, he's coming off screens and all that spot up. But he's shooting at a high volume, 8 3-point attempts per game. And he's averaging over 17 points per game. And he's the second leading scorer on the Warriors. He has been a big pickup for them. And that's one thing I knew he was going to be good because Buddy Hield's been in the league now for his 8th, 9th season. But, man, he's come in and really stepped up in that Klay Thompson replacement, sort of say. And the Warriors have been doing a great job. Kuminga has been stepping up, doing a great job for the Warriors. Him and Wiggins are averaging around 15 a game or a little bit under that. Wiggins, he's not as bad as he was last season, the last 2 seasons, but he's getting a little bit back to what he was during that run when they won the 2022 title a little bit. And Steph, yes, his numbers might be down a little bit, but he's still giving you about 23, 5, and 6. He's shooting almost near 50, 40, 90 for the season. His three-point percentage is up there, over 40%. His free throw percentage is 90%. But he's a shade under 50%, not too far off. He's shooting around 48, 47% from the field. He's still doing incredible things. Draymond Green, he's shooting a career high from 3. Like, Draymond Green's even knocking down shots from 3 at the highest clip of his career so far in the early part of the season. So that's one thing the Warriors have really surprised me. The next thing is what's going on with the Milwaukee Bucks? 4-8 as we currently speak during this time. 12th in the East, but they've been winning their last 2 games or so. Giannis Antetokounmpo, man, he's averaging over 33 points per game, 12 rebounds, over 5 assists per game. He's doing it all. He gave you a 59-point performance against the Pistons the other day. That was a controversial game. Near the end of that game, the Pistons were doing an inbounds play from out of bounds, and they were throwing it up to rookie Ron Holland. I thought he was gonna have the game-winning layup, but Giannis blocked it. But they called a foul, and it wasn't even a foul. He had all ball, and I was like, "That's not a foul." And of course, the referee's gonna try to ruin the game, and they call a foul. It wasn't a foul at all. Ron Holland, he goes to the free throw line, misses both free throws. I was like, "Ball don't lie." And then, they go in overtime. Giannis takes over. He's doing what he does best. He even had a unique 3-point celebration. I don't know what it was. He had a three.
They're trying to make up a new rule. It's a new rule that they're trying to do for fouls, so that it tips into their favor. So like yeah. And then Giannis on one of his 3-pointers, he did a unique celebration I never seen before. He was like this. He was like. I was like, what is that, the water sprinkler? I was like, what are we doing over here, Giannis? But he was on fire. He was 5 points shy of his career high, which he scored 64 points against the Pacers. I think it was last season or 2 seasons ago he did that. But, yeah, he was not far off from his career high. Giannis was on a mission. The only thing that worries me, though, is the Bucks. They have been kind of disappointed. This is a team I thought was going to be, hungry to want to come out and prove why they're a title contender and a favorite to come out the East, especially seeing out the Celtics won the title. I thought they're going to be hungry to prove themselves, and it hasn't been the case this season. They are 19th in offensive efficiency, 17th in points allowed, 22nd in assist-turnover ratio. Lillard, I know he was out with concussion that game against the Pistons. He's been kind of up and down. I know there's been some games him and Giannis both had tremendous games, but the others around them haven't been stepping up. That's what's hurting the Bucks. And then on the perimeter defensively, they're getting cooked. Anytime they play any team that has a legit guard, all-star level guard, they get cooked on perimeter every single night. Their paint defense is elite with Brook Lopez and Giannis down there to man down the fort. But on the perimeter, ever since that's what they compromised on when you traded Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard last season, you knew on the perimeter you guys were going to be weaker. That's going to be one of your weaknesses. You're going to get exploited on perimeter against teams in the East, such as that have Trae Young on the perimeter, star point guard Kay Cunningham, who's really had a tremendous season so far, even though he needs to cut down the turnovers. But yeah, I want to see if they can continue to build on this momentum. Brook Lopez had a nice showing in that Pistons game. I want to see him be more consistent. I don't know. Giannis, that's kind of one thing that worried about me is he had to score 59 points just to beat the Pistons. Like that kind of worried me. That's a cause for concern. So I know they were out Bobby Portis though, and without Damian Lillard, 2 of their top scorers, along with Giannis and Middleton. I don't know when he's going to come back. Chris Middleton, he hasn't played much lately. He's been, he hasn't played over 65 games since the 2021-22 season. Is he a guy you can rely on anymore? He has had ankle surgeries on both ankles. He has had knee surgeries. He's just not, I don't know if he's that same guy anymore. You can't rely on him consistently for a prolonged period of time. And the next takeaway I have is Wembanyama. He's on a tear. The Spurs, one of my favorite pickups of the season was Chris Paul coming to the Spurs. I said, I love this. Even though he's at an advanced stage of his career, he's not the scorer he used to be. He's not the mid-range maestro he used to be. But his ability to make an elite post-entry pass, find his guys, set his guys up, make the game easier. And also, he's a master in the pick and roll. And we have seen that really come to fruition this season. And Wemby's getting easier looks at the basket, more lobs. Last year, they weren't really looking at him. And this year, he's playing with a Hall of Fame point guard. Makes a world of difference. Before last night's game against the Lakers, Wemby, he had 3 straight games. For those 3 game span, 36 points per game, 12 rebounds per game. Shot 54% from 3 on 6.8 attempts from downtown. He was otherworldly, and he recently had a career high 50 points against the Washington Wizards on Wednesday night. He is the tallest player to ever score 50 points in a game. He's 7'4", by the way, if you didn't know that. Oh my God.
Yeah, 7'4". He has a handle. He can shoot from downtown. He's an extraterrestrial alien. Star Wars will want to cast him. Star Wars, and he's a Star Wars fan, by the way. He's a very unique individual, man.
There's a new trilogy coming out, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a new trilogy coming out. I don't know the full details of that, but I know Disney's wanting to do something about it. Yeah. But anyway, back to the main topic on hand.
And then he's the 4th youngest in NBA history to score 50 points in a game.
Really?
Yeah. He joined some elite companies such as like LeBron James and Devin Booker, just to name a few. So, yeah, Wembanyama, man, I can't wait. And he's the youngest center to do it too, as well. So, yeah, I think if he could have stayed healthy, man, one thing he's gotten better. He's been more decisive in his shots. He's getting to his shot better. He's not hesitating. And in that Thunder game I watched a couple weeks ago against Chet, and he only had single-digit points. He was indecisive. He was hesitating on his shot. He didn't know. I think he was overthinking the game. I think now he's slowing down. He's starting to realize, I'm 7'4". No one can block my shot. Like, let me take my time. Let me get into the rhythm of my shot, the follow through, everything. I think it's starting to pay dividends, and he's starting to shoot at an efficient clip. But I don't want to see him. He's been playing a lot of outside in. I want to see him get more into playing inside out. I know that's his game. He has the skills, but they're doing this long term as experiment to like have him play on the perimeter. So like down the road throughout his career, he could be that guy down the stretch who, when there's 5 seconds left to go, they're down by 1. Well, no matter where it is on the court, he can get his shot off, and they can be comfortable in that. He can be comfortable in those situations, whether it's in the post or out on the perimeter. And he has when he elevates for a shot, it's like a 9-foot reach. I was watching
Really?
sports science on ESPN, and I was like, oh, 9 feet. Like when he goes like full elevation, it's like 9 feet on his shot. You can't block that. And if he gets that consistent, no one's gonna be able to block it.
It's game
nobody. So, yeah, that's one thing. And he's averaging almost 4 blocks per game. He's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. So, yeah, and then also quickly, all the injuries in NBA. Like, man, NBA, we need to do something. Kevin Durant out with a hamstring. Zion Williamson out with a hamstring injury again. Paolo Banchero, torn oblique. Chet Holmgren on a play trying to defend the rim. Andrew Wiggins, fractures his pelvis. And, yeah, I just need all these guys to stay healthy. I know the 82-game season is, it's a lot to ask, but we want to see these players stay healthy. But, yeah, it's been that was a great show. Damn, that's already 1 o'clock.
That was an excellent show we got here.
But, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed this show. Talked a lot of boxing, talked some basketball on today's show. It's your host, DJ Hamilton. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Spend time with your families. Be safe. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a great one, everybody.